Very fortunate. So to come out on top last week, the guys did a good job battling, but we had a lot of things go our way by the kids making a lot of plays down the stretch. If shoot one play doesn't go our way, we're going to be short on that one. So we get enough things, and now we get a win, and we still got a lot of work to do. We're still a work in progress. Got to tighten up, play better defense, pass D. Really good team we played in run defense. We had a hard time running the ball and getting on schedule, but we had a slight injury to Kirk's ankle. His mobility was a little questionable, and Cooper came in, got going, and really played well. And then he had some receivers step up and make some plays for him, which had not happened in several weeks. So it was a gutty performance. It was a heck of a deal. Tough road trip again this week. Played a team coming off an open date that's played a very tough schedule. So we'll, we're still working and got a great group working hard. I keep saying it every week. So I really like our group, like what they're about, like what they do. But we got to keep getting better. A lot of young guys and even some of the transfer guys. I mean, they're just kind of, figuring it out on their own. I mean, some of these guys, like we talk a lot about Miles and Gavin and Marcus Silly and those guys, but they haven't been here a year, so they're still trying to figure out some of the nuances of our defense and playing. But that was a heck of a battle. Great. We get fourth down. Should we hold them to minus 1 yard rushing in the second half? No, you guys got that stat. We were 6 of 8 in the fourth quarter on third and fourth down conversions. They were 2 of 8. So that's not a bad football team if you can play that kind of football, especially when you've got to create those plays. We kind of played a bad first half. We kind of getting laughed at walking off the field. They go for 2 at the end of the half to make it 35 on their 2-point chart. And, I just appreciate our kids battling. We got the first stop, huge play we got the first third down stop. Offense did nothing. Huge play by Von Troy and Amige. Came back after that with a good drive and a field goal that bogged down. Good kick by Seth. They had a nice drive and score, but then we answered after that. The big play to Cam Benjamin was a huge play, and we got rolling. Defense played really great in the fourth quarter, so great to see those guys step up. That's now, 4 games in a row now. We've played 2 really good first halves and haven't had a second half. We've had 2 really poor first halves and 2 really great second halves, so it's not like it's adjustments. It's just our ability to put it together for 4 quarters still is not there, and I think if we do, we could be a really solid football team. But very fortunate to overcome, get a good win against what we know is a very good, talented team, and we're going to have a strong struggle this week as we go to play I think a very talented, good team. UAB's had a week off. I know they're hungry like us, wanting wins, and a lot of respect for their coach and players. So we're going to have a good win. That's why coming after that game, I think it wasn't very. I mean, to me, I've done this long enough. I'm happy for the kids, but now we got to go do it again. So it wasn't like it was. And it's nice to celebrate and enjoy because I know how and I'm happy for those guys. But for me, it's like, hey, we're building this team, and what's the next day and the next week, and how do we keep progressing, So anyway, congrats to our players, and a lot of appreciation. The staff did a well of a job, and a lot of appreciation for those guys.
So at what point, Coach, did you go from thinking I'm so sorry. At what point did you go from thinking we have a chance to go from making this respectable to go ahead and win this game? Was there one single play or sequence?
We weren't trying to make it respect. I mean. And really at halftime, I thought we could practice. We talked about a lot of energy. I thought we had a really good vibe in the locker room pregame because sometimes I think, some of our older players just got here, so sometimes everybody's just kind of sitting around looking and really challenged the kids. I thought last week at Temple we had a great locker room at halftime, kind of challenged them. I thought we had a great locker room before the game, came out and didn't execute, and UTSA did. And we're lucky it was 35 because they had a couple other scoring chances. So, to me, all I kept talking about was just play the next play. Wasn't trying to make it respectable. Wasn't thinking about winning. Just want to come back out. And fortunately for those kids, they rallied up, and we got that first couple stops, the big play by the sack. Settled down with this. I think the second drive we had a stop after the sack. So the first 3 drives of the second half, we had stops. We had 2 stops and a turnover score. And we're up 10-0. So, the last 2 weeks now, we've done a great job in the second half. I think we've given 13 points in the last 2 weeks in the second half. I think we scored 49 or something like that, or 9, not that. I think 49 points. So, and it wasn't like it was some. We just, hey, what plays do we want to emphasize? I thought the defensive coaches did a good job saying, wait a minute, just calm down. Here's what we need to be in better position to make some stops. And like I said, the kids took it to the field and played great.
So the halftime locker room, could you hear a pin drop when you walked in, or was it kind of a standard?
No.
I mean, what was it like?
It was actually better than I thought it was going to be. It wasn't people. like screaming, but it wasn't like the heads down. And typically, I just kind of go in there for a quick minute and a half, and then kind of get with the coaches and offense, defense guys get together for 6-8 minutes. Then you go back and take it to the team. And again, all I said coming out was like, I gave them the review of what we said we want to do. We want to win the first quarter. We got to beat 14-0. We want to win the turnovers. We're down 2-0. We wanted to win the last couple minutes of the half. We gave up a sack, score 7. Our next goal was to win the opening of the third quarter. Let's go win the third quarter. Let's just do that and see if we can. And so we didn't talk about coming back and winning. We just talked about play the first play, win the first few minutes of the third quarter. And from there, momentum got going our way, and the kids did a hell of a job. That was mojo. It wasn't like, here's the plan to win. Here's the plan to play the next play. It was all it was.
You talked in the post game about relinquishing play calling duties. What went into that decision?
I just thought last week, the last few weeks, okay, so we go Temple, we go get on the bus. Well, I grab the truss board, I turn off the lights, I lock the door, I go down, I see the snacks that are out there for the team, I put them on the bus. I'm like, the head coach probably shouldn't be doing that. So I came in Sunday, said I'm going to be a head coach. So I'm not going to sit in the offensive staff room. You guys put it together. So they put that first half together too. That was kind of stinky, but put it together. I went down. I'm a little bit late. I was sitting there with defense. Okay, here's what they're doing. Here's the routes. No, that's not a new play. That's just a conversion on your own zone. I just thought and when I did it from years ago when I first was a head coach and watching Bob. Bob was basically one of the highest paid corners coaches in the country because he was coaching corners as a head coach. So when I went to Indiana, I put 5 coaches on defense, and I was an offensive coach. When I came here, now we got 10 coaches. I still been kind of an offensive guy. That's my background. And I just thought last week, I was not doing a good job for our team. Sometimes in coaching, I think I can be a little bit more involved. I think the more involved, sometimes you see all the little nitpicky things and negativity, and you're always saying, like, hey, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you get your head here? Why didn't you get your depth here? What'd you read there? You're always like, and I'm like, hey, I'm going to be more of a big picture guy. And so I came in Sunday and said, here's our practice schedule this week. Came in Monday afternoon and said, I want to go through every kicking game. I want to talk about what we're doing this week. Said with the defense more than I did the offense. And then with that, I said, hey, I don't care. I go, listen, they're going to be really good on defense, guys. We're going to have our hands full. So when it's not going in the first half, I'm not jumping on. You got it. I'm going to be a head coach. And even though I've had that, quote, title, I've been a head coach coaching a lot of offense. And I just thought, I got great young coaches that need to grow. How are they growing if I'm always stepping in the way? So let's give those guys a chance to grow. I thought they did a well of a job. Coach Spurrier, Coach Mays, and Fry with the run game. Coach Switzer and Coach Dennis put together. Put Corey up top, and they kind of called it. Typically, what I told them is each drive, I want to know the first 3 or 4 plays you're thinking. So before you go to the field, like we've been doing this deal with these new iPads, you review the game. Well, that's what you typically do when you come in Sunday morning. So I go, let the kids watch the video. Give me the first 3 or 4 plays you want to do, and you guys talk through it. Make sure that we got some balance, some run game going. Can we protect the quarterback? We got 2 young linemen playing up there. They got their hands full, and like I say, it was a struggle early, and it wasn't play calling; it was execution. And as soon as we got a little energy, got a little hope, got a little belief going, that execution picked up. All of a sudden, we got receivers making catches you hadn't seen in a few weeks, not just Cam, and the offense took off. So credit to those guys. And going forward, I mean, no one told me to. I didn't, share with anyone. I think you'd asked last year. Somebody asked you to self-evaluate when you guys did, and I do that. One of you guys did. I can't remember who it was. And I mean, that whole play right back from Philly. I'm like, what am I doing? Like, how can I help? And I think sometimes a coach, you try to help so much, you actually can make it hard. We as coaches mess it up more than we mean to. And so I didn't blame the coaches. I said, I'm gonna start helping you guys. And I'm gonna tell you something. I really push the coaches. I talk about getting louder, more verbal on defense, body language, constant, consistent, daily improvement. I mean, all the things we talk about. I went back and started emphasizing it. Thought we had a decent week of practice. I let the coaches plan it. I implemented some things during the game. Like I had to, hey man, you're running this one right. You need to make this adjustment. Now you got it, and it actually was something that helped us a lot. But those guys did a great job.
Who called the plays?
In general, I mean, everybody collectively did it together. And then the heat of the battle, once the drive got going, I had Coach Dennis up top, and he was talking directly to Kirk because it's more about with the mic communication. I want to hear him one voice. And I told the guys I wasn't going to call, so I said, don't tell me, and let me tell Kirk. You guys talk to Kirk or talk to Cooper or talk to Cardell. And so Corey went up because he's the next guy besides me that talks to him. He talks to him more than I do, so they can hear his voice. And he did a great job out there. Matter of fact, a couple times, last drive, he would be blah, 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 blah. Think here. He's giving him a couple of coaching points, which is really good.
Was Kirk Francis's injury an aggravation of the previous injury, or was it a new
No,
injury?
different. He had a little ankle.
But-
Just loud, yeah. And
but is that-
he
but
thought
is
they
that-
thought he could play. I just thought watching him move, we weren't blocking well. You're going to have to move around. I just, and then, I thought it would be putting him in harm's way. It just didn't seem like it was worth it. Now he practiced yesterday, and looked good. And I think maybe he could have gone. I just didn't think, because we were really struggling to block those guys. That was a very talented big front, and we had our hands full in pass protection for sure.
So you had some people that were out in the secondary, and you had a new starter in the secondary. What went into that decision?
With
You had.
Keyone didn't dress. He had a
Right,
thigh bruise
yeah,
from the week
'cause-
before, and
because
he
of
was practicing.
that.
He
And
didn't
then
have a knee injury,
Jalen-
but he collided
Right.
knees in that thigh. He has a bruise.
So Jalen
it's a
Kennedy-
it's a pretty good bruise.
Jalen Kennedy started. Kennedy in the back half.
Yeah, I mean, Dev Robson, Ashton, all those guys have been playing well, and I don't really know what went in. I mean, Jalen has actually played very, solid for us. He's still, I don't think he's played as much as Devin and Ashton, and it's not like those two guys have done poorly. I mean, to me, we're playing, Malachi Jones played a little bit, but he had tweaked an ankle last week, so Zach Williams got the start there. We got some guys getting nicked. I mean, not the major, but we just got some guys that are nicked.
You've talked the last few weeks about making competitive plays, and it seemed like you made a lot more of those in the second half with your receiving group. Is that true? And did that have anything to do with a quarterback, or is that just maturation, or what was the process?
I would think and believe it's maturation. The only comment I made to that group was, said it several times, is that puppies start biting young. And a lot of you guys came in as cloud of recruits. It's time to quit barking. It's time to start biting. And you need to start stepping up and make some plays. And, we had guys that made critical plays at the end of that game that in previous games had not. We drop a seam pass the week before to running back. Billy Jack makes that play for a touchdown. That's the difference in the game. We had a drop last week on a big go ball. About 8 minutes in the fourth quarter, about the 10-yard line. This game, he makes that catch on the 20-yard line. You win the game. You're not going to make every play, but we had our fair run of not making our share. And those guys are capable, and they did. Now, this week we're playing, I think, defensively the fourth or fifth top-rated pass defense in the country. Now, maybe that's skewed a little bit because they played Army, Navy. UAB's played a great schedule. They played in a row here. They started with Alcorn State and Monroe, who's having a great year, but they've went Arkansas. They went Tulane. They went Navy. They went Army, and they've went South Florida. So they've played some really good football teams, and their pass defense is very, very stout. So we were fortunate last week, but we got our hands full again. We'll need to repeat.
Spencer?
But those guys made great plays. That's a credit to them. And Coach Switzer and Coach Dunbar, that's a credit to those. And Cooper delivered a couple of our back shoulder throws, tough to defend. Don't minimize. Those guys made the play. It makes Cooper look good, but Cooper's the guy that avoided the rushes, because the protection was still what it was. He had to extend some plays and find a little chicken salad out there once in a while, and it was hard to find. And he found it, and it's a credit to him now. He played a well of a game. I think he's getting recognized for a couple, accolades, but that's a credit to a little bit to the team. But we're still struggling in pass pro. And it was nice to see those receivers step up. We'll see if we continue. I thought Grayson made a couple good catches too, which was neat. We needed that.
Assuming Kirk is healthy enough to play, is he still going to be the starter?
Oh, I don't know. Cooper played well enough, and really, I was kind of, because he's not the purest of passers when you throw, and sometimes in practice it's very sterile. There's no rush, can't touch me. He's one of those guys that when he's got to start running around, he's a little bit better when the thing breaks down a little bit. Where when you're standing back there and it's kind of clean, he's not Mr. Ideal. He's okay, but he's not just phenomenally, accurate, big arm all the time. But all of a sudden, you want me to improvise and be a player, and be a quarterback player on the run and making plays. He's proved he did that well before. That's not statistically the biggest game he's had, I believe, in his career. So but when you watch him throw, he's not the best thrower on our football team. But man, what a passing game and what a heck of a game. So it's kind of hard because I think if we go through this week in practice, I think you got to trust a little bit about that last game performance, and we'll see how Kirk does coming off his injury. He looked good last night, but we'll see. You got to give a lot of credit to Cooper, and it's not like quote he's nobody's earned anything. We got to keep earning every day, but got a lot of confidence in him. And again, I guess some of my time in being around him, I've seen more practice throws than game throws. And sometimes practice, like you say, it's not ideal, but in a game setting, what a competitor, what a winner, savvy. I mean, that was great to see, and I understand why Coach Anderson hit me a text, his old previous coach from years ago, when he got him, said, "You'll love this kid." I'm glad he was here, so very, very fortunate. And in this day and age, where the highs and lows, playing enough for him to have the maturity to answer the call when needed. When you probably want to think you want to be playing a lot when you got here early. Matter of fact, he even said early, "Hey, I'm watching play. Like Kirk really throws it really well." I mean, he wasn't frustrated about things, but to this day and age where it's all about me, for him to be a good teammate and a vet, and he shows up in the summer. He's never been here. And to click and buy him vehicle. I mean, he's a well of a man. He's one of our married athletes. So his bride is a track athlete. That's a heck of an athlete. I think she's the athlete of the family. And so, but what a well of a performance by him.
Talk a little bit about strategy. You get down 42-31, and then you take points off the board when they're offside, and it turned out to be the decision of the game, one of the decisions of the game, because you win by 1 point and you get a 2-point conversion. So talk a little bit about thinking. Was there a doubt that you're going to go for it, or what is your thinking that when you've already kicked the extra point and then they get a penalty that you decide to put the
I think at the time it was was getting us to the 15 range. We're at that point where we needed it, and I'm clicking to the guys and said, okay, we're going to have to score twice in a field goal. So as we got down there, do you want to go for 2 now or wait? And I'm thinking we should go for 2. And like, yeah, coach, you ought to wait. Just let it play. Just wait. I said, okay. But then when we went out, when they got it to 1.5 yards, then it gives you a lot more options of run and pass. And I'm like, hey, if we're going to need this, and the odds are never going to be better than now. And so, we did it, put Cam in motion, used him as a little bit of bait, and kind of ran away from him. And Cooper made a good deal. So it was, we had talked about it before, and we decided to wait because we didn't know if we were ready for it. And then when they had the penalty to me when it's 1.5 yards, it was just, the odds just gave us a better chance, and statistically you just had to do it. We still had to make the play. And we've ran that play before and not executed it well. So we did execute it well. So it's well blocked, and a great job by Cooper. So.
Okay, and what do you think you can do to get the running game? I know you're playing, obviously, a team that defended the run very well last week, and it didn't go quite as well last week with the running game. But how do you going to get the running game?
Yeah, we've kind of went back and forth with that, where 1 week we're playing, thinking like, hey, let's get the ball in the perimeter. Perimeter blocking hasn't been well, as good as it goes, consistent as well as you'd like for it to be. There's other weeks, let's get the quarterback involved. Let's maybe throw it around a little bit more. We thought in this North Texas we need to throw it around me each week, just trying to. And that being said, we've been inconsistent on offense across the board. We did finally make some plays. We still struggle protection-wise, but what you're saying is true. I mean, the better our run game can go, the better we're going to be. This team is very stout in pass defense, so we're going. You're just going to wing it all over the yard on these guys. They're big and athletic in the perimeter. So we've got to find it. So whether that means we're doing it with bigger personnel groupings or running the quarterback, but we got to block better. I mean, we're still just young and immature, a little deficient with some of our body types. And like I say, last week we were playing 320, 340 inside, and I mean they were 6th, 7th, 8th in the country in run defense. And matter of fact, so I said, give me your place. In the first place, okay, we're going to run so and so this running place. Okay, 2nd and 10. What do you got now? Okay, what it is? Okay, it's 3rd and 8. Now what you got? I mean, because it was going to be tough sledding. But sometimes, what happened, I will say this. In the second half, all of a sudden, those runs started popping a little bit. Cooper had, about 70-some yards of rushing if you take the sacks off. And so some of those things kind of kept us in some balance and kept the defense off of us, and that was really good. So, Anthony got a little shin bruise. It wasn't bad. He practiced last night, but he didn't finish the game. So, but we've got, I just want to say this, but we need to be a better running team than we are. And that's just a product of when we started preseason, I said, hey, we're struggling in O-line, we're struggling in secondary. And week 8, we're still kind of doing those two things. And we're working through it. Kids battling, kids working their tail off, but just got to keep plugging through it.
TJ, and then Dan. I'll wrap it up.
From a confidence standpoint, does it matter to the kids how they win? A win like that, does that build more confidence when you're coming from behind, or does it really matter at the end of the day?
Well, I think we've been lacking confidence. And we said, like, it's a good question because, we talk about playing one play at a time. We talk about, like, what we can do to, have a big picture approach. My whole thing with the team last week was, what comes first, confidence or winning, the old saying. The more you win, the more confident you are. Well, you haven't won, so you start losing your confidence. But, if you don't believe you're practicing well, if you don't believe in yourself. So I tried to do a little backhanded complimentary to themselves. But I do think what you're saying, because you came from behind, that's the same guys blocking and making catches and throws and tackling and getting those stops. Those were the same guys standing out there in the first quarter, in second quarter when we weren't getting those. And we made a couple of adjustments, but it was the same players. But all of a sudden, like you said, they got a little belief. I think that little mojo with Von Troy got us going along. He had a good week. That's why I chose him to be a captain. Got a lot of belief in him and Owen and what those guys are doing, the way they battle, and Miles. And so the D-line's been the strength of the team. They kind of got us going. They're kind of the men of the team. They kind of pulled us through. And I say with that, when you – at least you feel like no matter what happens, I'd love to see us play a complete game. I'd love to see us come out and start the way we started a couple of those games and then play the way we finished 2 weeks and play 4 quarters of football. And other than the opener, we really haven't done that. We played a good first half against Arkansas State, didn't play well in the second half. We came back at we had a good first half, lost it, came back, we did get La Tech. But the last 2 weeks, for whatever reason, we're starting slow. Prior to that, it's like, hey, we're not coming at halftime. What are we doing at halftime? So we went round and round with different little nuances. But, to me, I kept saying, and I don't sit here and say things because I'm extremely honest. Those guys have been doing well. And we're in those meetings with those guys. I am extremely complimentary of the way they prep, the way they practice, the type of kids they are, what they're doing. Now, game day performance, for example, yesterday, all I did yesterday was show we want to win the first quarter. Here it was. 3 and out, give up a drive, drive. I just say, hey, here's what we did. Let's don't do this. We talk about we want to handle ball security. We had 4 sacks that caused fumbles. 2 we got back. We don't get those 2 fumbles back, we lose the game, both in the fourth quarter. And so, we're playing on thin ice right there. So yesterday in our video, I was very clear, it wasn't, guys, kicking wins, turnover ratio wins, third down, 6 of 8 in the fourth quarter wins. 2 of 8 defense in the fourth quarter wins. So you went through and you saw all those plays. Here's why you won. And I love your question because, hopefully we can have more confidence and believe that we are good. I believe I've been saying that. I think we are. But we're still immature enough. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you say or how you practice. It's how you perform and how you produce. And we haven't been. We got hot and got very fortunate. We've got a lot of work to do. It ain't like we got it figured. No, we never do. You're always working. We just got to keep building on it. But I think it was great for our kids, and hopefully we can have a lot of positive mojo because these are going to be tough battles down the stretch, all 4 of them coming up.
Dan?
How do you handle coming off what is probably going to be one of the most emotional wins for the guys out there on the field and putting that behind them and getting back to work, as you mentioned yesterday, and through the rest of the week?
Yeah, we were good last night, but I'll say this, like you guys were in there and Joe's walking out, but I was in the locker room. I wasn't all happy. I wasn't like negative. I was just very calm. I was happy for them. I jumped around a few seconds. I just let them jump around. Because my deal was like, okay, last week my big picture is what's best for this team and try to help them. And as soon as we won, okay, that's great. And it's always been here. But now we got to do it again. And it's a journey. And, last year we got hot and then we lost it a couple times. Our ability to sustain, and we're so young, can we sustain and can we continue? It's always harder than you think it is. So, I've not been negative or berating these guys when we play poorly, and I wasn't over complimentary yesterday. I showed things like, hey, this was not good. And we talk about these are things we want to do throughout the course of the game to give us a chance to win. Some things we did poorly. In the second half, we did some things great, and we're lucky enough we just had just a little that got us over the top. So I'm going to work, and that's why I think not being an offensive guy, I can quit worrying about every twist and every coverage rotation and every check. And I can maybe be a little bit more big picture oriented, which I was in practice last week. I was around the players more in practice last week instead of sitting here looking at a play and looking at a scheme. And so I'm going to do my part, and we'll see if they can drink the Kool-Aid and buy in and keep doing their part because there's still a lot of ball to play, and it's going to be challenging. But I love our group, love our kids, and we'll see what we can do and finish this thing and keep enhancing. We had a great recruiting weekend. You win that game. I got a message from Hal Smith today, and I was at Charleston's eating with a recruit after that game, and his family was kind of neat. His dad used to play at OU, so that was pretty cool. But I mean, you know, it was a great recruiting weekend. We had some local recruits we want here on campus. Jeremy saw me working the referees pretty good. You like the little fake I had on cam on the motion, right? It was pretty good, right? That was a good call, wasn't it? I'm a good bluff guy on the sideline. It's pretty good. So anyway, but we're gonna work hard to stay grounded and stay with it. And like I say, it was exciting. Not that we deserve it, but our kids have been working hard, and it's nice to see them. As TJ was saying, you know, we started getting a little maybe reward for their efforts. And like I said, I got a lot of appreciation, respect for them, but ultimately it's about winning. We don't talk a lot about it. We talk about the process, but to get that result was really cool and really hopefully great for our fan base and those guys as well. Cool.
All right, thanks, Coach.
See you guys.